A lovely good evening to you, our viewers. Welcome to the news. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. The top stories on our desk this evening: PF member innocent KALIMANSHI and 5 others found with a case to answer. 16,000 children to die from malnutrition in 2022 due to poor funding. University of Zambia land encroached. In international news, 4 Kenyan police jailed for murder of a UK aristocrat's son. And in sports news, Zambia takes on Tunisia in World Cup qualifiers.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Thank you for choosing us. Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia says acts of criminality among some bus drivers who allegedly raped a woman and kidnapped another person in Lusaka's Zingalume area are uncalled for. In an interview with Camnet TV, organization acting executive director Bishop Andrew Mwenda says such acts are inhuman, thus calling on the police to ensure that they bring the culprits to book. The bishop was reacting to a story carried by Camnet News Monday where a woman was raped by a bus driver. Details in this report.
Since independence, Zambia has been Africa's regional model of peace and love amongst the citizenry. But now, this record seems to be changing as the country has started experiencing a great number of criminal activities such as rape. Following the story that aired yesterday on Camnet News, where a young lady was raped by a bus driver, Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia has condemned the behavior of a bus driver.
All my passwords, my iCloud passwords, and my Airtel Money password. After that, they drove onto a dash road, and then the conductor and the driver exchanged seats, and the driver told me to take off my trousers, which I did, and he started raping me. And
we have heard, like yesterday's news, on the rape cases of the clients or the people that are getting into public transport, and then the young ladies particularly. I heard much of the young lady who was raped on her way to Kafue when she remained alone. The news did not say whether it was the bus driver or the conductor, but it says she was raped. There was not much details to that.
In an interview with Camnet News, the acting executive director, Bishop Andrew Mwenda, says such acts are inhuman and has since urged the police to bring the culprit to book.
A man who was robbed of his laptop coming from UTH. As the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia and as a church, we condemn that. That is not right. We are asking the police to bring to a stop to that, not just to arrest the guys, but to bring to a stop to that habit that is growing up. But we thank God that we have been told that the police are already doing something about it. So really on that issue we are saying no, it should not continue and it should not even be entertained. It should be brought to a stop, and the perpetrators must be arrested.
The bishop has since called on the members of the public to continue upholding good morals. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Zambia's former First Lady, Maureen Mwanawasa, has asked the Lusaka High Court to set aside the bankruptcy notice issued against her by Finance Bank Zambia Limited, alleging that she has failed to pay back a 6 million kwacha debt which she obtained from a loan facility in 2013. In this matter, Finance Bank has applied in the Lusaka High Court for bankruptcy notice against Mrs. Mwanawasa after her failure to settle over 6 million kwacha under facility agreement dated 14th March 2013. However, in the affidavit in support of the application to set aside the creditor's bankruptcy petition dated 5th November 2021, she submitted that Finance Bank is misleading the court to believe the bankruptcy proceedings are necessary when in fact not, as the bank has already taken active steps to recover the debt. She states that Finance Bank commenced proceedings before another court where it obtained a charging order absolute on 3rd February 2021 to sell her properties stand number L18414M and L19290 in order to recover the said money. She adds that the applicant has deliberately and neglected to inform the court that the hearing of their application for sale of the respondent's property is pending and scheduled for hearing on the 9th of December 2021. Mrs. Mwanawasa further adds that the application by Finance Bank is premature, ill-intended, irregular, and an abuse of court proceedings. Still in court, the Lusaka Magistrate Sanford Ngobola has found opposition self-proclaimed Patriotic Front National Commander Innocent KALIMANSHI and 5 others with a case to answer in a matter they are accused of drug trafficking and unlawful use of a motor vehicle to commit an offence. When the matter came up for ruling in a case or no case to answer, Tuesday morning, the court ruled that the state has established a prima facie against KALIMANSHI and his 5 co-accused, hence placing them on defense. Meanwhile, Magistrate Ngobola has acquitted 22 others who were charged with being in possession of offensive weapons.
Their happiness cannot be described further than this. We are out and God exists. A group of 22 people called Americans told journalists shortly after the Lusaka's Magistrate Court acquitted them from a charge of being in possession of offensive weapons. The 22 were jointly charged with Innocent KALIMANSHI, a self-proclaimed Patriotic Front National Commander, and 5 others in August this year after a combined team of officers from the Drug Enforcement Commission and Zambia Police arrested them in Chawama compound following a complaint by some residents that the group was terrorizing the area. However, in delivering a ruling on case or no case to answer Tuesday morning, Magistrate Sanford Ngobola said the state did not adduce enough evidence to warrant him to put the 22 on their defense. The court also noted that none of the witnesses brought by the state identified any of the 22 of being found with said offensive weapons. Although it was a joyful day for these 22, for KALIMANSHI and 5 others it was nothing close to that, as the court found them with a case to answer on allegation of drug trafficking and unlawful use of a property, hence placed them on defense. KALIMANSHI is accused of trafficking 2.0 grams of cannabis and unlawfully using unregistered Nissan Fair Lady for purpose of committing an offense, while the 5 others are accused of trafficking 95.3 grams, and among the 5, 1 is accused of trafficking 36 grams of the said drug. The 6 accused persons are expected to appear before court on the 30th of November 2021 to commence their defense. While KALIMANSHI and his co-accused may be thinking of how they will rescue themselves from these serious allegations, his sympathizers believe that freedom is coming their way. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
About 30 hectares of land belonging to the University of Zambia meant for horticulture activities has been encroached by illegal developers. In an interview, University of Zambia Acting Communications and Marketing Head Damaseke Chibale says this exposes land illegalities as the original title deed was given to the university in 1967.
This is part of the 93 hectares of land belonging to the University of Zambia, UNZA. However, about 30 hectares of this land has been encroached by illegal developers who have continued constructing despite being warned that the land is already on title and is used for horticulture purposes. While being government-owned by law, public institutions of higher learning have been encouraged to come up with income-generating activities so as to avoid over-dependence on government for funds. UNZA Acting Communication and Marketing Head Mr. Damaseke Chibale says apart from being used as a training ground for horticulture purposes, products from this farm are sold in order to generate income. However, illegal developers have demarcated the land despite the original title deeds having been given to the university in 1967.
From the tour that we've taken, that people have been building and the structures are up. And one important thing that we want to communicate to those that have encroached the UNZA horticultural farm is that this land is on title. And the title dates back to 1967. That's when the University of Zambia actually got this land. And now we are just giving a friendly warning to those that are developing these illegal structures here, that this is the time for them to salvage whatever that they have put here, to remove those blocks that they have and other building materials.
He adds that this further exposes land illegalities in the country and the university will move in and demolish the structures in a few weeks' time with no debates.
In a few weeks' time, we are coming to demolish. There will be no conversation and there will be no negotiations. So we are strongly warning the developers of these illegal pieces of land or plots to desist even from construction works that are going on. Because we are coming very strongly and we want people to be law-abiding. This is a pure disregard of law and actually an encroachment on properties that are for public good use.
Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Mr. Elijah Muchima on Monday said the ministry is seriously investigating widely reported case of land illegality and a report will be availed to the public soon. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit casual workers under the Office of the Vice President have complained of poor conditions of service. In an interview with Camnet TV, the workers have complained of working without protective equipment, delayed salaries, and are subjected to poor diets. They have since called on government to consider employing them on permanent basis.
It is almost everyone's desire to one day find a stable income-generating opportunity that will help them sustain their livelihoods. These casual workers under the Disaster Management Mitigation Unit, DMMU, who've been constructing drainages in Kanyama compound, lamented over poor conditions of service. They have called on government to consider employing them on permanent basis.
This, you might think we are employed as permanent workers. No, we've been working since December, and then we are approaching December again, which will make it a year. So we are appealing to our Vice President, who is our boss for DMMU, she can look into our lives, at least.
It's a year now, and the issue of payments, we don't get paid in time. They always delay. So as in for now, it's like we've not been paid for like 2 months, right? Yeah, 2 months. And as you can see, working guys are not okay. Ever since we started, these are the same works that we had. Up to now, they've not even given us even new ones or safety boots. We don't have safety boots. Raincoats, we don't have raincoats. When the rain comes, we're always soaked, we work in the rain. As you can see, even gloves, we don't have gloves. We touch a lot of dirty things in these drainages.
They have explained to this reporter on how they are made to eat the same kind of meals on a daily basis.
Under the Dennis for more than 6 months now. So we are just asking our Vice President if she can just employ us as a permanent job. Okay, we are really happy that but
it is important that the government does not seem to compete with the private sector in compromising the decent work agenda. However, efforts to get a comment from the Disaster Management Mitigation Unit proved futile by broadcast time. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Small Scale Farmers Development Agency, SAFADA, has called on small-scale farmers across the country to consider insuring their crops in cases of calamities. In an interview with Camnet TV, SAFADA Executive Director Boyd Morwe says climate change has brought challenges to the agriculture sector, hence the need to insure the crops. Recently, a heavy downpour left farmers in Gwerere compound of Lusaka stranded after their crops, valued at 500,000 kwacha, were damaged by the heavy rains. Details in this report.
Zambia's agriculture sector has been negatively impacted by climate change in the recent years. The country has had fluctuations in weather patterns, from extreme droughts to floods. The agriculture sector is, however, dependent on favorable weather patterns in order to flourish. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO, about 70% of farmers in Zambia are small-scale farmers, and these are important in ensuring food security. However, with changing weather patterns, their produce is at risk. The country recently witnessed a heavy downpour of rain, which left farmers of Gwerere compound in Lusaka stranded as they lost crops valued at about 500,000 kwacha. Small-scale Farmer Development Agency SAFADA Director Mr. Boyd Morwe says small-scale farmers should consider insuring their crops.
They have not taken into consideration the importance of insurance. Insurance, the way I understand it nowadays, is that it helps a lot to mitigate some challenges that we face in business. For instance, the farmers themselves. So, like what happened last week, I think early this month, there was a heavy downfall of rains. There was storm, and most of the farmers have experienced some damage. I've seen some damage in their crops. Grain already harvested crops, and the crops on the field, they have gone to waste. They have been damaged, and now for them to start planting again, or maybe to have another source of income, is quite difficult. So that's how the insurance company comes in to help the farmer mitigate some of these financial challenges.
He says apart from providing funds for farmers to start afresh, another importance of crop insurance is that it helps to prevent rural poverty, as most farmers come from these areas.
So it requires some kind of sensitization, and also educating farmers exactly what is supposed to be done in order to protect themselves and also to ensure that they proceed with their business of farming. Yeah, I think it's important that farmers take that into consideration. But maybe my final appeal is the insurance companies to come up with a well-tabulated policy, because what makes farmers to fear sometimes is how the insurance package is prepared, or how it is set. farmers feel that they are on the disadvantaged part.
The country has joined other nations around the world in finding solutions to climate change, but will have to use interventions in the meantime to avoid this impact, especially on the farming sector, so as to ensure food security. Zipporah Mchala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A pharmaceutical expert, Jerome Kanyika, has implored the Zambian government to consider adopting the water filter equipment that instantly converts dirty water into clean, safe drinking water. Speaking at a meeting held in Lusaka, Mr. Kanyika says water filter will help tackle the water contamination challenges experienced in the country, which has been leading cause of diarrheal diseases. He says the water filter was invented by a male Zambian, Chanda Kafwimbi, and has been certified by the Ministry of Health and other international certifiers that it is one of the best water purifiers. Details on this.
This is a water purifier invented by a Zambian national, Chanda Kafwimbi, which instantly purifies dirty water into clean and safe drinking water.
We were first waiting to make sure that all the necessary tests are done, and also to ensure that we've got enough support waste being manufactured, so that if demand requires, we'll have the items in number. But as at for now, we are trying to see which people we can partner with. And we're expecting quite a huge amount of the genies to arrive anytime soon.
A pharmaceutical expert, Jeremy Kanyika, has since called on the Zambian government and other stakeholders to come on board and see how best the innovation can be used to manage the water challenges in the country that has been the leading cause of the outbreak of waterborne diseases.
What I'm trying to say here is this filter, this small bottle which we are launching today, it has the capacity of purifying water almost to 100%, which is to about 99% of 99.9% purity, which is more than most of the water that we buy in terms of mineral waters and all that in terms of the purity.
Mr. Kanyika adds that the water purifier has been tested and certified by the Zambian government and other international bodies such as UNICEF, and says can be a game changer to most communities, not just in Zambia but other countries as well.
Check the value which were put here for facial contamination. It was too much. Then the water was passed through this water filter, and the results came out from the Food and Drug, indicating that the water which was purified here had, in terms of facial coliforms present, there was 0.
With the Ministry of Health having announced suspected cases of typhoid and dysentery in some parts of Lusaka, the amazing innovation may be a solution that Zambia needs.
So it uses gravity. So the higher it is, the faster the thing comes out.
All the studies that have been done on the water that is past there is nothing that we say.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Residents of Kazingazinga compound in Solwezi district of Northwestern Province have bemoaned the erratic water supply being experienced in the area. A resident, Maxwell Kafuebo, has explained that there are only 2 water kiosks which cater for the whole compound with a population of about 5,000, hence the people having been compelled to draw water from shallow wells. They have since called on the Northwestern Water and Sanitation Company to address the situation.
Water shortage has hit Kazingazinga compound in Solwezi district. With only 2 water pumps that cater for the entire area population, residents have bemoaned the ongoing water shortage in the area. A resident, Mr. Maxwell Kamwenfu, has expressed frustration and explains the impact of water problem to their well-being.
Twayanda bingi na mema byonka byomwatana mema kuno kwetu ketcha jiburongo akubamba bantu bakonsha kutomane mema pakioski ketse no kuyabukijine ya mufuku bantu bakirara anti bantu twaketekera kutoma mema munzira byonka byomwatana bantu bena kutapura papo omema watu bena kutoma nansi ke buyanji bukatampe kyakosha kuba mama kyakosha kutuletera buremo bwa matwaka yasha kubera twekana nabikora byakusana kusana ngitara ibana bavura byo bayikaramu no mumpunja yetu babena kutoma mema abo mushima byonka bino.
They call for actions from the local authorities to address the situation.
Natutula na meshi unokijinge turefaya meshi o turefaya esa mwoni mara ku 22 05 oro esa meshi so natutula na meshi twapapa turefaya meshi tretrend kwa meshi mkwai ngaya fine na yaya alaisa na ku 22 na ku 05.
With this situation, residents have now resolute to drawing water in shallow wells. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Solwezi.
The Civil Society Scaling Up Nutrition Alliance has described the 2022 national budget as a death sentence to over 16,000 children in the country who are projected to die in 2022 on account of inadequate funding by government towards nutrition. CSO Country Coordinator Matthews Moro is disappointed that the 2022 budget is silent on the nutrition and the Yellow Book is not indicating specific figures. Mr. Moro says over-dependence on donor support towards nutrition is not sustainable. He notes with disappointment reduced funding in agroecology in the 2022 national budget, which supports sustainable agriculture practices. And Mr. Moro has wondered how the government will utilize funding from UK government, the government of German and other cooperating partners towards improving the nutrition sector, going by the alleged lack of commitment by the Zambian government. He has called on government to allocate more resources to food safety efforts.
Enforced fully remains very, very high. So with some of these findings of our budget analysis, we can safely say that the 2022 national budget becomes a death sentence to over 16,000 children who are projected to lose their lives in 2022 because of inadequate funding to nutrition. So, government documents such as the profiles document that has, already projected the number of lives if at all the allocation to nutrition does not change. For 2022, they've actually projected that 16,000 children are going to lose their lives, and this is a huge worry for us. And if at all the New Dawn government is really serious about saving, these lives that we are going to lose in 2022, I would want to see a shift in as far as, allocation to nutrition is concerned. We are therefore also meant to wonder how, the New Dawn government would intend to utilize the monies that have been given so far by the UK government and the German government being the latest cooperating partners that have contributed quite huge sums of money to the fight against malnutrition, when government does not really see this area as a priority in terms of them allocating enough resources to go towards these areas.
The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPES, has proposed that the adult education teachers be moved from the Ministry of Education to the Ministry of Community Development. NUPES Executive President Victor Muyumbe says adult education teachers are almost unnecessary and irrelevant in the Ministry of Education structures. Mr. Muyumbe says illiteracy and weak community mobilization will be a hindrance to successful implementation of community development model now that government has allocated 25.7 million kwacha to Constituency Development Fund.
Adult educators are people with specialized knowledge, skills or interest in specific fields and who have the desire to impact knowledge in other adults. In Zambia, however, adult educators have been placed under the Ministry of Education where they are treated as secondary and primary school teachers. The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPES, is however not happy with the development and have demanded that the adult education teachers be moved from the Ministry of Education to the Ministry of Community Development.
Calls on government to move on secondment all those teachers that have done adult education from the Ministry of Education to the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. These adult education teachers have not been utilized well by Ministry of Education. They are almost unnecessary and irrelevant to the Ministry of Education structure.
Mr. Myunda adds that if adult educators are moved to the Ministry of Community Development, their relevancy will well be suited, as they will, among other things, improve community participation in local development, now that government has proposed to spend 25.7 million kwacha on Constituency Development Fund.
The Ministry of Community Development and Social Services does deal with real issues on the ground. And these issues of illiteracy are real issues. Apart from that, these teachers will help to change the mindset and the attitude of our people, because development is supposed to be something that is supposed to be looked at from a certain angle.
And Mr. Myunda has demanded for the reassessment and upgrading of teachers with higher qualification to the salary scale they deserve, even as government seeks to recruit about 30,000 teachers.
Teachers that have been in service for a long time keep on crying that the former pupils they handled years back have come back to the system as teachers with degrees. And now they are even being promoted as heads of department, deputy teachers, even head teachers. Even when the same teachers who could have entered the system with diplomas have furthered their education and have degrees as well. And this is morale dampening, which cannot be allowed to continue.
Shortage of teachers' houses was also among the topic raised by the union, who have demanded that government provides better housing infrastructure for teachers, especially those in rural areas, as it has been a contributing factor as to why many teachers escape from rural areas to urban areas. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
United Party for National Development Deputy National Youth Chairperson for Gender Cindy Kauka has urged youths and women in Northwestern Province to form cooperatives and local companies to benefit from the Constituency Development Fund. Speaking to journalists in Kasama District Tuesday, Ms. Kauka says youths can only benefit from government programs by formalizing their activities.
We need to form cooperatives. We need to prepare companies so that we are given the first priority as youths of UPND, because, you know, we brought about this victory. We are the 2.8 million, and I know the President appreciates that. We have come with good news for you youths of Northern Province from the President, and the President is assuring us that we must not despair. We should hold on to what we have brought about. We must keep on supporting the President and the government. We hold on to the party because we need our party to even grow much stronger. We need to keep mobilizing. This is our time to start mobilizing as we are waiting to have the share that we fought for. And we are going to have that.
ZESCO Limited has refuted rumors going round social media platforms alleging that the country will experience load shedding until the year 2023, saying the information is fake and should be treated as such. ZESCO Senior Corporate Affairs Manager Dr. John Kunda says the company has embarked on the infrastructure development to secure power across the country and reduce on power outages going forward. Dr. Kunda was speaking when he featured on Camnet TV Breakfast Show, where he clarified that most of the power outages are caused by regular maintenance works which are necessary to ensure stable transmission. Meanwhile, Dr. Kunda has condemned the vandalism of ZESCO properties by some residents, saying the practice is retrogressive both to the company and the nation at large.
The story is that first, we didn't issue a statement to that effect. It's not from ZESCO, it's somebody who decided to come up with that story. And they are the only ones who can answer where they got the substance from. But the truth is that, you know, we are upgrading the infrastructure in Lusaka. Because these outages, believe you me, whilst they are isolated outages in some parts of the country, once in a while in Kitwe, you know, for other reasons, the ones in Lusaka are mainly due to massive infrastructure works. that are being funded by the European Investment Bank and the World Bank. Since 2014, these projects have been running. This is to upgrade the infrastructure in Lusaka. And then they sell them to people who melt the cables and create other cables for sale. We are zeroing in. We've arrested a number of people.
Yeah, from
one sad encounter for me was when we arrested a parent with his 2 boys. For me, that was heartbreaking. A father with his 16-year-old and 21-year-old son. They had removed cables from a substation, burnt them, and they were going to sell them. So they were apprehended, and they faced not less than 15 years in jail. So you can imagine that is a destruction of a family.
You're watching Camnet News. Let's take a breather. When we return, we have more interesting stories. Stay with us.
This is the Rusitu Irrigation Project. It's a government project funded by the World Bank through IDSP.
The project involved laying over 18 kilometers worth of interlinked water pipes that will supply water to the 280 hectares land for small-scale and commercial farmers in Rusitu of Chirundu district. We worked on 35 kilometers of the road network and also constructed 159 concrete water hydrants of different sizes in all 3 tiers. The state-of-the-art water pumping station at the banks of the Zambezi is fitted with 9 water pumps, a dedicated concrete reservoir, a 500 kV automated standby generator, a fully automated pump switching system that is interlinked with a second reservoir of 27,000 cubic liters capacity, which is fitted with 7 water pumps, a standby generator, and floater tanks for that extra water pressure on the irrigation lines. Savenda Construction is grateful to the Zambian government and the World Bank for giving us the opportunity to be part of the history of Rusitu, as the project will benefit over 282 households once completed, and is just one of the many that Savenda Construction has embarked on, owing to its track record and capacity to deliver as per requirement. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying on. Minister of Finance and National Planning, Stombekom Sokotwane, has revealed that the country currently owes 14.7 billion kwacha in debt on road construction in a ministerial statement before the floor of Parliament Tuesday. Dr. Msokotwane says over the last 10 years, contracts amounting to 127 billion kwacha were signed without clear foresight of the implications. He has since directed the National Road Fund Agency to develop a 10-year debt service sustainability plan.
Speaker, the breakdown of all the contract commitments, debt arrears and loans as at 30th June 2021 is as follows. Contract commitments. RDA has 690 running contracts valued at 111.46 billion kwacha. The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has 315 contracts valued at 16.15 billion kwacha. The contract commitments is therefore 1,005 contracts valued at 127.61 billion kwacha. The total of the 9.6 billion is also owed to contractors as debt arrears. Madam Speaker, it is clear that this approach is unsustainable and obviously requires serious adjustment. My ministry has therefore directed the NRFA, in consultation with the other road agencies, to develop a 10-year debt service sustainability plan, which will outline how government will implement road infrastructure in a more sustainable manner going forward.
Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development Minister Charles Milupi says government seeks to minimize audit queries in the Auditor General's report by prudently utilizing resources. Mr. Milupi regrets that the previous administration did not attach value to money in its approach to infrastructure development, hence the country losing a lot of money. Speaking when he met a delegation from the Institute of Directors Tuesday, Mr. Milupi says the trend of overpricing government tenders should come to an end. He explains that in the wake of limited funding towards housing and infrastructure development, the government will maximize on public-private partnerships to make progress. Meanwhile, the Institute of Directors of Zambia President Edward Kawe says the institute is ready to provide technical support to government in order to promote good governance.
He said it cost me 20,000 to sink a bore. And I must confess, reading, that's how much it cost me to sink bore, whatever I have in my agricultural and ranching activity. But in government, if government wants to sink a borehole, the same contractor who sinks boreholes will charge 60,000. Why is it happening now? So this is the challenge that we have. There has to be a paradigm shift to look after the resources so they can grow much better.
And the way you mentioned participation of Zambians is key, but not to compromise the quality. I think the message is very consistent and very detailed. And you're breaking it down to a situation where everybody can understand. And we are in full support of it. The issue of the Constituent Development Fund, which I touched upon, Honourable Minister, one observation which we made as IOD was that this money is going down there, and there will be schools in there, bridges, some hospitals. So from the governance side, we have offered ourselves to be party to enhancing processes, to give you some background on what we are doing and a bit more information. Thank you, Minister. To gift for his tower as he's doing his golf. Okay. I see, you know about that. Yes,
The Small and Medium Enterprises Ministry has reaffirmed its commitment in facilitating small and medium enterprises having access to financing schemes to enable them expand their businesses. SME Minister Elias Mowanga notes that for a long time, small businesses have faced challenges in getting loan schemes from financial institutions due to failure of meeting required conditions. Mr. Mwanga says his ministry will create opportunities to enable more SMEs have opportunities of financing their businesses. He made these remarks when he met the Zambia National Marketeers Credit Association at his office Tuesday morning. Meanwhile, Zanamaka President Mupila Kamea has proposed a national rollout initiative aimed at bringing every informal sector player on board to have their details registered for easy planning and revenue collection.
Thank you, sir. This ministry is looking into almost everyone, even those that are selling plastic carrier bags in the market. We call them micro. They are into business. They also have the right access to finance, and this ministry, we will definitely be able to meet their demands so that we can scale up their businesses into small businesses. Everyone is important in the market, and thank you so much to quickly respond to what the government asked you to do.
As well, to know there are new entrants coming in the markets. We have those that have died. We also have those that have graduated from being a marketeer to a certain level. So this, for us, is something that can help government, can help us, and everyone, so that we have the same information. Yes. So, in a nutshell, this will help equally our local authorities. Yes, the mandate has been given by government to the local authorities to collect revenue. But if you ask a question, how many marketeers are there? We may not know. We may not know who's paying and who are not paying. So through this registration, it will help us to understand how much are we how much have we collected on the copper belt in all the provinces.
Yeah.
United Bank of Africa Chairman Tony Elumelu has called on entrepreneurs in Zambia to take advantage of the financing platforms provided by the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program. Speaking at a media briefing held in Lusaka Tuesday, Mr. Elumelu says his organization has in the past 4 years been supporting entrepreneurs with non-refundable seed capital of $5,000 United States dollars, of which Zambia is a beneficiary. The bank chairperson says entrepreneurship is the only way of creating employment opportunities for the local people that will see to it that Africa develops. He says Zambia has an enabling environment for business to thrive and has advised entrepreneurs to step up and have their businesses counted.
Drive and realize their entrepreneurial ambitions, because we realize, we believe in Tony Elumelu Foundation that as these 300 plus Zambians succeed, they will help to create jobs in your country, they will help to catalyze and drive further economic development of your country. We don't ask you to pay back, but what you owe us is to succeed. Because if you succeed, you help us to achieve our reason debt, our purpose of being, that we want to eradicate poverty in Africa, want to make sure we create jobs, etc., and want to help to empower Africa. So your success is success for us, and that is the debt you owe us to succeed.
You're still watching Camnet News. Let's take another break. When we return, we have sports and international news. Stay with us.
infirmity, never had a legal right in here anymore because she was healed in her soul. He also took care of that accusation in the court where he said, I loose you, and that means to acquit someone of a crime.
Why does he say, be strong and be courageous, Mamutale? Number one, you've got to be strong. You've got to be courageous when claiming the things that belong to you.
If you're up against principalities and powers,
en contra de
and Satan
principados
is knocking you around,
y el enemigo te está dando contra ti,
put praise on in your car.
pon alabanza.
Put praise on.
So we must learn to depend on the Holy Spirit to tell us what these things are and what's the next thing and what the church ought to be doing, rather than conform to everything that is going on.
He says you're blessed. He says flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father.
He will preach the gospel with great power and influence, I say, even to the nations of the earth. And I began to prophesy his destiny. As I did that, the Spirit of the Lord said, now rebuke the spirit of depression.
The mystery of your unfulfilled prophecy is found in what I'm saying today, if you hear what the Spirit is saying, because the King is speaking.
That everything that God has given you will flourish because you have his mind like never before, in Jesus' mighty precious name.
This is the Rusitu Irrigation Project. It's a government project funded by the World Bank through IDSP.
The project involved laying over 18 kilometers worth of interlinked water pipes that will supply water to the 280 hectares land for small-scale and commercial farmers in Rusitu of Chirundu district. We worked on 35 kilometers of the road network and also constructed 159 concrete water hydrants of different sizes in all 3 tiers. The state-of-the-art water pumping station at the banks of the Zambezi is fitted with 9 water pumps, a dedicated concrete reservoir, a 500 kV automated standby generator, a fully automated pump switching system that is interlinked with a second reservoir of 27,000 cubic liters capacity, which is fitted with 7 water pumps, a standby generator and floater tanks for that extra water pressure on the irrigation lines. Savenda Construction is grateful to the Zambian government and the World Bank for giving us the opportunity to be part of the history of Rusitu, as the project will benefit over 282 households once completed, and is just one of the many that Savenda Construction has embarked on, owing to its track record and capacity to deliver as per requirement. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying on. In international news, Uganda's police say the 2 explosions which shook Uganda's capital Tuesday, were carried out by 3 suicide bombers riding on motorbikes. Police spokesperson Fred Inango blamed the ADF rebel group for the blast, citing the nature's bombs used. He said 6 people have been confirmed, among them 3 attackers and 3 victims. 4 Kenyan police officers were sentenced on Monday for the manslaughter of the son of the British aristocrat 9 years ago. Alexander Manson was found dead in a police cell in the coastal town of Danai in May 2012.
3 suicide bombers killed civilians and injured dozens in Uganda's capital, Kampala, on Tuesday. One carried out the first blast near a checkpoint at the central police station. Then 2 other bombers on motorbikes detonated near Parliament. The explosions saw lawmakers rush for cover and cars burst into flames, according to media reports. Bloodied office workers were sent scrambling over shards of broken glass as a plume of white smoke rose above the downtown area. A Reuters witness saw burned cars behind a police cordon at the scene, and a local television reporter said he saw bodies in the street. Here's local city mayor Salim Uhuru.
Very unfortunate to see. I've lost one of my friends, a police officer, and the rest, the police will come and give more information about that, but it's very unfortunate. It's happening at such a time that we're trying to go back to our normal livelihoods. So if these people can come at such a premises of police and set off a bomb, then you know things are not good.
A Ugandan military spokesperson told Reuters that there had been multiple blasts and multiple casualties, but declined to give further details. Uganda's police did not respond to initial requests for comment. The bombs are the latest in a string of attacks over the last month. No particular group immediately claimed responsibility for these explosions. The al-Qaeda-linked Somali insurgent group Al-Shabaab has previously carried out deadly attacks in the country. Last month, another group, the Islamic State-aligned Allied Democratic Forces, or ADF, claimed its first attack there, a bomb packed with shrapnel that killed a restaurant waitress. Both the ADF and Al-Shabaab frequently use explosive devices and have been accused of killing thousands of civilians.
4 Kenyan police officers were sentenced on Monday to 15 years in prison, 4 of which were suspended for the manslaughter of the son of a British aristocrat 9 years ago. Alexander Monson was found dead in a police cell in the coastal town of Diani in May 2012.
I therefore herewith jail the accused persons as follows, depending on their degree of responsibility. The first accused person, Naftali Chege, is sentenced to serve a jail term of 15 years in prison, 5 of which are suspended.
There are many mothers all over this country who have lost, particularly sons, who seem to be the major victim, young men, at the hands of the police.
Before his death in 2012, Alexander Monson was arrested at a nightclub in Diani and was accused of possessing marijuana.
Well, that's it for international news. We go straight into sports news. The Zambia national team will be up against Tunisia in the final Group B encounter for the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. The match kicks off at 21 hours Central African time and will be beamed live by the national broadcaster. Tunisia's top Group B with 10 points level with Equatorial Guinea, who have an inferior goal difference. Zambia has 7 points while Mauritania is at the bottom on 1 point. Only the group winner will qualify to the final round and will have 10 African countries that will play a knockout round culminating into 5 winners. The 5 winners represent Africa at the World Cup in Qatar 2022. Zambia Sports Fans Association patron Peter Makembo spoke to Camnet TV on this.
Tunisia, in Tunisia, it's a very important game for us because it's a deciding game. So I was speaking to Beston Chambeshi to say, consider moving in a block form and tell the team to say, the fans back home, they believe in you. They are going just to miss us in a physical form, but in spirit we are with them. We would have traveled, but things didn't go according to what we thought it could go on our side. So we are back home. Meanwhile, being at back home, our hearts, our minds are already in Tunisia. Another earnest appeal is on ZESCO. Since the game will be played at night, the fans will be moving from one place to another in search of where there will be power. So ZESCO, they should avoid their load shedding, because at that awkward time, people will be moving from one place to another. Some misguided people, they will take advantage.
We wish the boys well in tonight's encounter. On that note, we end our news. The headlines once again. Patriotic Front member Innocent KALIMANSHI and 5 others found with a case to answer. 16,000 children to die from malnutrition in 2022 due to poor funding. University of Zambia land encroached. In international news, 4 Kenyan police jailed for murder of a UK aristocrat's son. And in sports news, Zambia takes on Tunisia in World Cup qualifier. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day, and it's coming from Psalms 119, verse 2 to 4, and it reads, Happy are those who keep his decrees and seek him with all their heart. They do nothing wrong, they follow his ways. You have commanded that your precepts be diligently kept. Well, that's all we had for you on the desk this evening. Thank you so much for choosing us. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. Good night.